Hey, it's Friday and it's time to check out some of my favorite photos. I shot a lot of interesting stuff. Like here's one of a woman walking down the street with a little guy attached. And I can honestly tell you, I really wanted to take a nap myself when I actually shot this picture. But again, it's discovery. And the cool thing is what I found the following day. And it's hard to explain how this works, but for whatever reason I ended up in Rochester, Massachusetts, and I decided again, I had a choice to go left or right. I saw a horse farm with some stables, and I run in there, and after a little while this little girl shows up with her parent, with her mom, and turns out another woman who was a nurse, and turns out she suffers from Noonan Syndrome, which means that her body doesn't grow at the same proportion. She has problems with her heart, and and she always loved horses. So the next thing I know, I'm hanging out with this kid, getting a riding lesson, and this was just something that the mom came up with. So it wasn't necessarily a program, but she was smiling, she was having a great time. But again, if you're not out there driving and discovering things, you can't really discover stuff. And you have to obviously be lucky, but if you're not there, then you can't be lucky, right? So what happens in a situation like this is I come back, and then I, speak with one of the editors. I'm like, hey, maybe we can write a story about this kid. And sure enough, that's what happened, and it was on the front page of yesterday's paper. So these are the cool moments that make journalism really what it's meant to be, which we're a reflection of the community. We are the voice, but we're also here to maybe talk about issues that other people don't even know exist. And in this case, we got a little 7-year-old who bruises very easily, gets tired incredibly rapidly, and has always been fascinated with these horses since she was 18 months old. Now, I didn't know what Noonan Syndrome was, so I had to somewhat educate myself a little bit about it, and it was just really cool to see. Really cool to see that this kid was smiling and giggling, and so was the mom and the nurse, which was really important. A few days later, so yesterday, I photographed some World War II planes coming to town, and the second picture you see here is a mechanic working on the P51 Mustang, and you can see that it's inside a hangar. The only way I get that is because I just went early. I really didn't know what time it was going to open up to visitors. I go in early, and next thing I know, I find myself inside a hangar photographing a guy inspecting a vintage fighter. And there happened to be a lift directly behind it. So I elevated myself, and there you go. That's how things happen. But it's funny because, one of my friends, James Pereira, was also there, and he'll attest to this. You just sit down in a specific spot, you see the potential of a photograph, and then what it takes is patience. And sometimes the patience could be half an hour worth of patience, or it could be 5 minutes worth of patience. But the easiest thing to do in a situation like this is go there and just photograph planes. Well, if you want to see photos of planes, I can guarantee you 100%, just do a search for a B-17. There'll be infinite better pictures of planes than I could possibly take of them sitting on the ground. So why are you there? You're there to tell stories. And to me, stories is all about the human element. Everything. From buildings, which you think have nothing to do with humans, wrong. My sister, who's an architect, will tell you otherwise. It all has to do with the humans and how they interact with their space. So patience, be patient, let things happen. Don't interject yourself in other things. Let it happen. Sit there, see a good position, and that's exactly what happened with a lot of these photographs. So I have other stuff as well, but I think those are the two pieces that I wanted to focus on today, for this week. And again, I hope you guys subscribe to the channel. I'll be doing more reviews of actual equipment and things like that. It's pretty busy. It's kind of crazy and hectic. Like I said earlier today, if you're not driving around, you're not discovering. See you next week.